Good evening, everyone. My name is Leslie Bergstrom. I'm the superintendent of the Oregon School District, and this is the one board meeting each year I have the opportunity to call to order. Today is Monday, April 25th, 2022, and I am calling the meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. here at the Innovation Center at Oregon High School. Katie, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Bijak? Here. Ms. Garrison? Yes. Dr. Lakuta?
Yes.
Mr. LeBrun?
Yes.
Mr. Pankratz? Ms. Wright?
Yes.
Ms. Flanagan?
Here.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is proof of notice for tonight's meeting, which will be with Katie. It's right here if anyone wishes to inspect it. Next is the approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting, and I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
We have Mr. LeBrun was our first second in there tonight. So we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Do we have any discussion? Katie, would you please read the roll?
Ms. Garrison? Yes. Mr. LeBrun?
Yes.
Ms. Bijak?
Yes.
Dr. Lakuta?
Yes.
Ms. Wright?
Yes.
Ms. Flanagan?
Yes.
Motion passes. We have an agenda. And this takes us to item A, reorganization. Item A1 is board members' oath of office, and I can report that our 3 newly elected board members have taken and filled out their official oath of office in a timely manner, which means we can move on to A2, which is election of officers. Let's see. The board uses Robert's Rules of Order to elect its 4 officers: president, vice president, treasurer, and clerk. These duties are outlined by statute and board policy 173. Any election of an officer may be by secret ballot should the board pass a motion to that effect. And where the number of votes cast constitutes a quorum, a majority of those votes is sufficient to elect an officer. Nominations may be made by any member and do not need a second. This is for the role of board president. To start, I will take nominations for the Oregon School Board President. Are there any nominations for School Board President? Yes.
I would nominate Krista Flanagan for board president.
Second that.
Thank you. Are there any additional nominations? Since there's only one candidate, any one of the board members can make a motion to cast a unanimous ballot. Thank you. And a second?
Second.
I think people are going too fast tonight, Mary, because someone got you again.
No worries. Happy to be last.
I'm glad you're here. So here we have a motion and a second to cast a unanimous ballot. Is there any discussion? Okay, then Katie, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Garrison? Ms. Wright?
Yes.
Ms. Bijak?
Yes.
Dr. Lakuta?
Yes.
Mr. LeBrun?
Yes.
Ms. Flanagan?
Yes.
That motion carries. So, Ms. Flanagan, do you accept the position?
Yes, I do.
Then I will hand the meeting over to the new president, Ms. Flanagan.
Thank you, everyone. All right. Moving on to the position of Vice President. And if people would remember to put your microphone on when you cast a motion, so that way OCA can pick you up when you make that motion, that would be great. So I will entertain a nomination for Oregon School District Vice President.
I'd like to make the motion to nominate Tim LeBrun.
All right, we have a motion for Tim LeBrun. It does not need a second, so I'll make an announcement if there are any other, ask for any other nominations for Vice President. Are there any other nominations for Vice President? Okay, hearing none, then board member can move to close nominations and cast a unanimous ballot for Tim LeBrun as Vice President of the Oregon School Board.
I move to do so.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on that motion? All right, hearing none, Katie, could you please call the roll for the motion to cast Tim LeBrun as Unanimous for Vice President.
Ms. Wright?
Yes.
Ms. Bijak?
Yes.
Ms. Garrison? Dr. Lakuda?
Yes.
Mr. LeBrun?
Yes.
It's okay, you can vote for yourself.
Ms. Flanagan?
Yes, motion carries. Tim LeBrun, you are the continuing Vice President. Do you accept that position?
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you very much. Now moving on to Treasurer. I will entertain nominations for the Oregon School Board Treasurer.
I would nominate Troy Pankratz for the treasurer, although he's not here. Can he
That's what happened.
accept that in his absence?
Did he send a proxy? All right, are there any other nominations for the position of Oregon School Board Treasurer? All right, seeing none, I will entertain a motion from a board member to close those nominations and cast a unanimous ballot for Troy Pankratz as School Board
I'll
Treasurer.
move for that.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have, oh, sorry, Mary.
I'll just keep trying.
We can pause for the next one so Mary can get her name in the minutes. Okay, we have a motion and a second to close nominations and cast a ballot for Troy Pankratz as Oregon School Board Treasurer. Katie, could you please call the roll?
Ms. Garrison? Yes. Mr. LeBrun?
Yes.
Ms. Bijak?
Yes.
Dr. Lakuda?
Yes.
Ms. Wright?
Yes.
Ms. Flanagan?
Yes, motion carries. Troy is our continuing treasurer, and he is out of town for business tonight, so we'll see what happens, what other jobs he gets later in the meeting. All right, our final position is for Oregon School Board Clerk. I will entertain a nomination for that position.
I'm going to start, but just curious if Mary wants to jump in with anything. Mary, here's your shot.
I actually don't have anything for this one, Heather, but thank you.
Oh, all right.
Well, then I'll make the motion to move for Anna
Right.
Bijak.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion to, for Anna Bijak to be the school board clerk. I guess that motion does not need a second, but I will entertain any other nominations for school board clerk. All right, hearing none, I will entertain a motion. This does require a second to close nominations and cast a ballot for Anna as school board clerk. We need a motion first. Can you make that motion first?
Yeah, I can make the motion first. I figured if I second, then I would actually get the second.
Yeah.
No, I'll take it first.
The delay wasn't as pronounced that time.
I'll
Okay,
second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to cast unanimous ballot for Anna. Close nominations and cast a ballot for Anna as school board clerk. Katie, could you please call the roll?
Dr. Lakuda?
Yes.
Mr. LeBrun?
Yes.
Ms. Bijak?
Yes.
Ms. Garrison?
Yes.
Ms. Wright?
Yes.
Ms. Flanagan?
Yes, Anna is our continuing school board clerk. Anna, do you accept that position?
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you. That closes officer nominations for the next year for the Oregon School Board. Thanks, everybody. Moving on to B, consent calendar. We have minutes of 2 previous meetings. We also do have 2 resignations. I did not see any donations, did I? Okay, we do not have any donations at this point in time. So I will entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, and I know, Leslie, because you were not a board member yet, you're going to abstain from the vote on the minutes.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so Katie, could you please call the roll?
Ms. Bijak?
Yes.
Mr. LeBrun?
Yes.
Ms. Garrison?
Yes.
Dr. Lakuda?
Yes.
Ms. Wright? From the entire,
Just that she'll take you off in the minute votes.
Very good.
Ms. Flanagan?
Yes, motion carries. All right, moving on to C, information items. Public comment. Katie, I believe we do not have anyone registered, but we do have a special presentation tonight. So if you would all come up to the microphone here. Last September, there was an MIA POW chair dedication in the Capitol Rotunda, and Allison Langto, who's an OHS junior, performed the Star Spangled Banner and America the Beautiful in the program. And the organizers were incredibly impressed by her singing, so they wanted to recognize her tonight. So the floor is yours.
Well, you did half my job for me. I'm Mark Herman. I'm president of Rolling Thunder Chapter 5 and the liaison for the state. Rolling Thunder, as was spoken, is a awareness group keeping alive and understood that we have POWs and MIAs that are still missing, and we try to bring closure to families that are missing these people. One of the things that we do across the nation, and we were able to do after 5 years of working on it, is get a chair of honor placed in the Capitol. It's in the Rotunda, West Wing, and it's connected directly to the World War I addition of their memorial. Through the VFW's help and through the state, we partnered to get that chair put in there. A lot of people were involved. I won't bore you with all those details because the reason we're here tonight, basically, is to thank a young lady who is a student at Oregon High School, which makes me proud because I am the father of 3 graduates from Oregon High School, Matthew, Luke, and John Herman. 89, 92, 95, right in that neighborhood. But when I knew that when David and I were putting the presentation together, I knew we needed somebody to sing our national anthem and America's Beautiful, or whatever we came up with. What I wanted most was somebody that was going to sing it the way it was written. I mean, I like rock and roll and all that other good stuff, but I don't like bebop when it comes to our national anthem. So I asked Don Cornwell, former music teacher here and my neighbor for years, if he could connect me with the music department here at Oregon High School so I could find a student that could do that for me. I was looking for a female voice because, in my opinion, and I'm a combat veteran myself, female voice singing the national anthem always hits my heart. So we were able to do that through Jennifer Yancey, who provided us with this exceptional young lady that is going to school here, Alice Langtel. And to show our appreciation, we've got something for her. So I'd like to introduce David Green, adjutant for VFW State, and let him say a few words.
Just a couple words. Placing the chair in the state capitol is a big deal to combat veterans because, number one, for the Rolling Thunder, the mission is to make sure that we educate the public on the MIA reality. And there are 1,500 of our young men that are still missing from World War II. And that is something, and that is what the Rolling Thunder mission. VFW's mission is to perpetuate the memory of our fallen. And I was in the Army, and my Army soldier's creed was to never leave a fallen comrade behind. So what that did, when I signed my name on the dotted line in 1984, I inherited 1,500 missing in action since World War II. That transcends the generations.
From this state.
From this state, there are 82,000 in the United States that are missing, and I've seen the effect of bringing home our missing in action 5 times in the last few years. My wife has seen it as well. So with that, the missing in action chair sits at the bottom of the assembly chamber to remind every one of our legislators that our job is not done. We got to bring them home. Okay. And with that, I would like to present this plaque on behalf of Rolling Thunder and the Veterans of Foreign Wars, which we are both members of. Allison Langto, Allie. In appreciation for your outstanding participation during the POW MIA Chair of Honor dedication at the Wisconsin State Capitol, September 17th, 2021. I present you this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Come on, Nicole.
My name is Nicole, and I'm here to read a letter on behalf of Secretary Peter Barca, who started working on this project because we were approached by Rolling Thunder while he was working in the legislature, and I was a staffer for him at the time, so I'm invested. I got to work on the project from the beginning.
She did a lot of work.
But he sent me here on behalf of himself, Secretary Kolar of DVA, and also the governor. So this says, Dear Allison, on behalf of Governor Evers, Secretary Kolar, and myself, we would like to personally thank you for your contribution of your talents during the POW MIA Chair of Honor dedication on September 17th, 2021. This chair is a symbol representing a permanent seat in the House of Government for service members that are prisoners of war or missing in action. Having the important ceremony to dedicate this memorial together at the Capitol was paramount for veterans and active duty service members across Wisconsin, and perhaps even more importantly to the families of POW MIA service members. The dedication was made all that more special by having a singer of your caliber there with the military band to unite us all with songs honoring our country and those heroes that are prisoners of war or missing in action. Thank you again on behalf of Governor Evers, Secretary Kolar and myself, as well as all the veterans organizations and other state agencies that worked on the project, for giving your time and talents to this important event. Sincerely, Peter Barca, Revenue Secretary.
Want to say something, Jennifer?
Just very
Oh.
proud of her.
Thank you all for being here.
Thank you very much.
That was very special. Thank you all for being here. Okay, next item on the agenda is C, information item 2, OEA report. Is the OEA here this evening? All right, seeing not, then we'll move on to C, information item 3, which is the student report. And we have 2 new students joining us. Peyton couldn't be here yet because she's at soccer, so Nate Majeski, the time is yours. Welcome.
Oh, thank you very much. I mean, obviously I wish Peyton could be here, but she, I'm sure, will be here next time. But I have to give a lot of credit to her because she put this report together almost all by herself before I could even get around to doing it. But I will pick up her work where she left it. So first, you wanted to start off with our focus first here as student representatives and in all of the clubs that Peyton and I are in together, which is just on positive reaction to a lot of the negativity that happens everywhere. It's in the nation and it's in this high school. And everybody brings in that shred of negativity every single day. And our focus in throughout all this work, specifically in the Superintendent's Student Advisory Council, is compensating for that with overwhelming positivity and bringing back that reminder that the world isn't such a terrible place, even though that's what the media really likes to talk about. So right now we have a person in Panther Vision, and we're working on, well, we have out a student feedback form, and that's mostly so far what we've been working on in the Superintendent's Student Advisory Council to spread that positivity in a way that actually matters. I know Peyton and I definitely both know that we put in a lot of effort to things that don't really work out, and it's hard to find things that resonate. So our mindset there was really try to focus on things that people actually care about, and if they're going to tell us about it, they care about it enough to hopefully listen to it. So impactful form responses are just one of our bullet points here that really highlight what people at OHS are thinking, what students are thinking. And it started off with inclusivity, and that's been a topic that is echoed through student council, through the advisory council, and definitely through this forum. Is everybody has a firm set goal in their mind for a more equitable high school. They want all these students, even kids who aren't neurodivergent or LGBTQ+, or of a racial minority, they want justice for everyone and everyone to receive the same education and have the same access to opportunities. Working on that, we make sure that the work we do in all the clubs and student council and in the advisory council is equitable. Everybody can access it and everybody can take part in it. More education for teachers and students about how to use inclusive language. Again, coming back to that whole idea of equity, making sure that everyone feels welcome, no matter what class they're in, no matter who they're surrounded by, that people can have different opinions, but overall, everyone gets the same amount of respect. Communication was another big thing. That's, I think, the main reason that we have this council is to bridge that gap. And I think that was a phrase that was used probably 30 times in the first 3 meetings, is bridge the gap. Because there is a big gap between what happens here and what students hear about. And part of what we do is making sure that there's connection there. There's communication there that goes both ways. That's why we're here, and that's why we have one of the students on the board goes on Panther Vision just about every week and talks about this is what happened, this is, specifically at the meetings, this is what happened at the meetings, and what we're doing on the board, on our council. And then more positive rhetoric was another one that was echoed twice. And one of the key responses that we wanted to include was, I need administration to create flexible support plans for students with chronic health issues or long-term mental issues, both of which weigh on students more than most can imagine. That was an anonymous response, I believe, but it definitely struck a chord with me and Peyton when we were reading through those. That's something that needs to be heard. Because I guess specifically, personally, I don't think about other people's health issues when it comes to education, but they do. They do every day. So working on that in clubs and with administration is huge, and making sure that just because I don't realize something is a problem, that we still have that ear to the ground. All right. Then in general club activities and stuff going on in the high school, we had our student council car wash last Saturday, which is the reason for my sunburn. It was a big hit. We made $440 to give back to the Friends of Brooklyn Wildlife. Yeah, that was a month-long project, and it turned out well. Everything we could have hoped for. Student council elections are coming up. I'll be running for representative there too this Thursday. We have our blood drive this Wednesday and ACP testing this Wednesday for people above 16, so that's not a problem. And then we have our day of silence on Friday. That was last Friday for LGBTQ plus students. We have experiences forum, which I already touched on a big bit, but making sure that we have communication that can move upwards from students themselves. And we had, I think, 5 or 6 new responses since we met last. Our art gallery, if you didn't see it on the way in, it is right front and center with art, all sorts of art regarding sexual assault awareness. And I know that that was a pretty publicized event, and people definitely were talking about it, is what can I do? Like, even people that weren't into art, just what can I contribute? I don't know how many, I'm sure upwards of 100 students signed Denham Squares, just to show support for people that don't necessarily see that specific support every single day. And then a Denim Day recognition will be tomorrow on the 26th. And then our one-act plays recently took place, and all of the theater groups worked together to provide short skits, and those lasted 3 days from the 21st through the 23rd. And it sounds like there were 2 of them about online dating and one about school violence. So yeah, there's a lot going on, and I feel like people now more than ever, especially after COVID, are getting involved, and there's plenty of news to be shared about what people are getting into.
Great. Thank you very much, Nate. Really informative information. It's really great to see the Superintendent Council up and running and talking about really key issues. So I'm looking forward to hearing more from Dr. Bergstrom with the board and as well as you all, and then we'll kind of tackle some of those issues too at our board workshop. So thank you very much, Nate. Okay, moving on to D, action items, and these are part of our reorg meeting as we have every year. The first is the official designation of the newspaper. So I think you have that in your packet. The resolution, be it resolved that the Board of Education for the Oregon School District designates the Oregon Observer to be the official district newspaper. And so I will entertain a motion to approve that. And just as a note, just so people know, Oregon Observer is a weekly newspaper, and that's why we designate that. The Fitchburg Star is a monthly newspaper, so we need to have a weekly, so that's why we designate the Oregon Observer for people that are maybe interested in that question. So I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move that.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none. Katie, could you please call the roll?
Dr. Lakuta?
Yes.
Mr. LeBrun?
Yes.
Ms. Bijak?
Yes.
Ms. Garrison? Ms. Wright?
Yes.
Ms. Flanagan?
Yes, motion carries. Sorry, that motion carried 6-0. Moving on to resolution regarding investment of district funds. I will turn that over to Mr. Wyland.
Yeah, just real quickly, we really didn't change anything with the process that we go through with the investment of the funds. The policy was created in accordance with, obviously, statute, as well as with the advisement of our financial advisor. So nothing's changed, same practices as we've had for years.
Okay, does anyone have any questions of Mr. Wyland? All right, hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make that.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, is there any discussion? All right, hearing none. Katie, could you please call the roll?
Ms. Garrison?
Yes.
Ms. Bijak? Yes. Dr. Lakuta?
Yes.
Mr. LeBrun?
Yes.
Ms. Wright? Yes. Ms. Flanagan?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Moving on to C, resolution of depositories. This is be it resolved that the following be designated as depositories for the Oregon School District: U.S. Bank, One Community Bank, Oak Bank, BMO Harris Bank, State Bank of Cross Plains, State of Wisconsin Investment Pool, Wisconsin Investment Series Cooperative, and PMA Financial Network. Andy, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, same as same.
Okay. Is there a motion to adopt that resolution?
I'll motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. Katie, could you please call the roll?
Ms. Wright? Yes. Mr. LeBrun?
Yes.
Ms. Bijak?
Yes.
Ms. Garrison? Dr. Lakuta?
Yes.
Ms. Flanagan?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Moving on to 2, appointment of representatives. So these are positions that board members fill. First is the CISA 2 delegate, which is an organization that we belong to in our area that keeps us up to date on issues that are important to school districts. I served in that position last year. You have a couple meetings that were virtual last year we discuss and keep up to date, and then I forward those all to the board members. So I will put it open to the floor if anybody would like to take that position this year. Is anyone up for that? All right, Tim, it's yours. We don't have to vote on it. Do we have to vote on that? Okay, I didn't think so. Okay, WASB delegate. Anna, you've served as the WASB delegate in the past. Do you want to give a quick explanation of that?
Yeah, sure. So serving as the WASB delegate, the WASB stands for the Wisconsin Area School Board Association, and so it's basically a group that supports all school boards and issues that are relevant across the state. And one of the biggest jobs of the delegate is to attend the delegate assembly, which is held at the annual convention is it January, maybe the 3rd week of January? And so as the delegate, you would represent the Oregon School District on the resolutions that are being considered by the entire Wisconsin Area School Board Association group. And so then you would provide any feedback from this district. In fact, this last time, our district sponsored a resolution, and so that was pretty cool that we were a sponsoring district for a resolution. But you attend that meeting, and it's very interesting to be part of that and just kind of hear the different perspectives from different school boards. And so I definitely enjoyed being a part of that. So that's kind of the biggest role of the WASB delegate.
All right, great. Is there anyone? Troy did have that position last year. He is willing to give that up if anyone else would like to take it. So is there anyone that would be interested in that position?
I would be interested.
Okay, great. Thank you, Leslie. Yeah, it's a really great position for a new board member. You kind of get to see all the things that are happening in terms of issues before the state, and then you can represent us. And I think as we talk today, that those resolutions will come to the full board for approval before you take those to the national or the state convention. So, okay, moving on to C, which is board committees. Per board policy, the president appoints committee members. So we do have the vision steering committee and the policy committee. So I will be talking with everybody in the next week about kind of your desires and our desires for committee assignments. So look forward to those conversations from me. And then the final committee that the board does have a representative on is the Oregon School District Wellness Committee. And I think Heather, you were the current rep. So do you want to talk about that committee a little bit?
Yep. That committee is a really interesting one to be on. I feel like it's a great ear to the ground of what's happening in the schools. It meets, I think, 2 or 3 times a year, so it's not a huge time commitment. Lots of different things, whether it's school lunch nutrition or staff wellness, the farm-to-table things in the AmeriCorps program. So happy to share the wealth if somebody wants to take that over. It's a great one to be on.
All right, is there any interest for being on that committee? Or do you want to stay on it, Heather?
I can, but
okay.
If nobody else
All right.
is.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back in.
Oh, wait,
Oh,
Mary.
Mary, do you have any interest in being the OSD Wellness Committee representative?
I would love to be the OSD Wellness Committee representative.
All right, sold. All right.
Somebody else who has their heart set on it.
Nope. That's a great committee. I've served on that committee for 2 years, too. I think it's a really important one. Okay, thank you, Mary. Okay.
Yeah, you bet.
Next item on the agenda is 3, resolution regarding Oregon splash pad, and this is kind of something that came to our attention, so we want to get that on the agenda for tonight. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Bergstrom or Andy, whoever would like to take it.
Sure. The Oregon Brooklyn Optimist Group has been working for some time now, actually at least 5 years, maybe 7 years, trying to fund a splash pad next to the Oregon pool. And we're probably about halfway there, maybe a little bit under with the price increases that have happened over the last several months. But we found an opportunity to take advantage of a grant. It's a statewide grant administered by the Department of Natural Resources. It is a competitive grant. There's approximately, I believe, $3 million available for the entire state. But over the last 2 years, there have been splash pad projects that have been funded by Reedsburg and Beaver Dam. So we, in discussing this with the Oregon Brooklyn Optimist Club, have put together a grant proposal. It is due on, technically it's due May 1st, but I think it's extended because May 1st is a Sunday. It's due on Monday. And we have been working with a person that is very, very good at putting these grants together by the name of Sherry Pollock, I believe. And for the Brooklyn Optimist Club engaged her. And one of the things that she recommended was that we go ahead and make sure that we have something formal that basically designates the property that the splash pad would go on. And so we did not have that as we were going through things over the last couple days. And so we're bringing this to you at this time because we feel like it would give us the best opportunity to be successful with that competitive process. There is a little bit of a question, but I think it's not insurmountable, and that is when I was talking to a DNR representative, although we couldn't find anything in the paperwork, the DNR representative said that when people, if they accept the grant funds, they are accepting that the land that the improvement is made upon would be kind of community land in perpetuity, which is forever. So we are kind of taking that look at that. It's only about, it's less than a third of an acre. It's about 12,500 square feet or 0.29 acres right next to the pool. And if there would be something in the distant future that we would need to use that land for, there is a process that you can basically give a comparable or better piece of property to the community for community use, but there's a little bit of paperwork and that type of thing that we have to go through. So that was the only downside that we could identify as far as going through this process. But we would like to go ahead and submit that at the end of the week so that we have it in for the end of for the deadline, and that's what we know about it at this time.
Okay. Any clarifying questions for Mr. Wyland? Heather, go ahead.
Just a quick question on and when this grant gets submitted, if the grant does on May 2nd, when is the timeline to potentially hear about an answer? Do you know?
I think it's the summer. I had heard that there could be still things submitted into June today. So coincidentally, I was talking to a planner that we're working on with the assessment of recreational resources, and they are actually, Ayers and Associates is actually submitting this on behalf of Chippewa Falls. And so we started sharing information back and forth, and she said that actually you can submit supplemental information up until June. So my guess is then it's probably sometime late summer.
Okay, and then my follow-up question is on the off chance if we would need to utilize that 0.29 acres that it's on, is there a location parameter or just an equal or better parcel that is within the district?
We didn't get that far. My guess would be in the proximity of the area or something like that. But
and do you anticipate that not only the paperwork being fine, but a possible solution should we ever get that far?
Yeah. I don't anticipate that being a huge hurdle, other than it sounds like it's a little bit of an administrative process.
Okay. Nothing you can't handle.
Right.
Okay.
Any other? Okay, go ahead, Anna.
Is this stewardship grant? Is that what this is?
I believe so.
Okay.
But it's for active recreation in the stewardship fund.
Okay.
And there's a smaller piece of the pie for that purpose.
And I just knew that one of the requirements of stewardship is that it shall be used for that community purpose. So I just figured that must have been what the grant was. Okay. And then the only other, there's just a quick clerical error in the first whereas clause. It's the city of Fitchburg and not the village of Fitchburg. That's the only other thing I was going to mention on the resolution.
We will correct that.
That's why you're the clerk, Anna. Good catch. You've earned your job already in the first 10 minutes of your term. All right, is there any other questions? Go ahead, Tim.
I just want to make a point that I'm part of the Optimist Club, and we have been raising money for over 5 years. And I think everyone realizes as we go through donations through this board, every single meeting, nearly every single meeting, there continue to be, even after 5+ years, donations to that splash pad. And so there's a continuing interest in the community. We do have a good deal of funds raised. Margaret Straub, who has championed the splash pad for all of those years, has done a tremendous job in keeping the spirit alive. And so I would wholeheartedly support a motion to approve this.
All right, is there any other discussion or questions? Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the resolution that 0.29 acres of land on the west side of the Oregon Community Pool is to be designated for use for the Oregon Area Splash Pad. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Is there any further discussion? Mary, any discussion?
No, I have no more questions.
Okay. Katie, could you please call the roll?
Mr. LeBrun?
Yes.
Ms. Wright?
Yes.
Ms. Bijak?
Yes.
Ms. Garrison?
Yes.
Dr. Lakuda?
Yes.
Ms. Flanagan?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Thank you both. Okay, discussion items, because we do not have active committees right now with the reorganization. I'm going to skip over committee reports because those committees have not met due to the reorg.
Krista?
Yes?
Krista, sorry to interrupt. I'm going to drop off.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for joining us while you're out of town. We appreciate it.
Yes. thank
Safe
you.
travels.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so moving on to F, information items. I will turn the microphone over to Dr. Bergstrom.
Thank you. We have some pretty interesting things on the docket for tonight. And as usual, we'll start off with our visioning and strategic planning. And we've actually begun discussions on some tweaks to our framework, and we'll be able to talk about that more at our board workshop in May, because as you get involved in the process, you start to have additional thoughts, and some things make sense, and perhaps in a different order. So it's important that we know that this framework, just like everything else we do, is always subject to the very best thinking. We have done some good work related to getting a lot of input on Portrait of a Graduate. And the latest group to give some input, it's our student group. The Student Superintendent Student Advisory Council. I just gave them a little bit of time to think about it last Friday, and we'll be talking about it again this Friday. And students had thoughtful, insightful feedback from the get-go. So they are sending me their feedback via email. And I'm excited to really have it be something that starts to really truly guide us in all that we're doing. And this is kind of fun tonight, our teaching and learning update, because we're able to talk a little bit about the last leg of the anti-hate speech lessons, and it's the final series of standalone lessons. And it'll begin this week, and it's started back in 2020 with a committee to help gain awareness related to the anti-hate speech policy that we have, and ensure that all the families, the students, and the staff, everybody knows the policy and understands how to contribute to creating the culture of safety and belonging that we all want. And we've been working on this for a couple of years, and I was able to meet with a group of students this afternoon from a group called the Equity Network. So it was middle school and high school students here, and they spoke about this also, and about the fact that we really can't talk about it enough, in their opinion. So I think that was a really interesting and meaningful feedback from that group today. So last week, we sent a preview email to all of our families, kindergarten through grade 6, that actually included all of the slides that the students would see, along with a letter that gave them some context and a contact person for questions, which is our Assistant Director of Learning and Student Achievement, Darcy Krieger. So that was sent out, and our parents are hopefully reading through them and preparing to have good accompanying discussions with their young children, because what's really helpful is if the parents know what's coming, they can have conversations with their children about what they're learning in school, and make that learning even more real life and meaningful, because it goes beyond school into their home also. So all of these lessons were created by OSD educators, and they align with the Wisconsin Social Studies standards. And a lot of times people don't necessarily put those two things together, but that's one of the reasons we said this is a standalone, is because moving forward, a lot of this will be integrated into social studies, but we really wanted to take the time to make sure that we were helping students understand all of this. The expectations, basically, for creating a culture of safety and belonging. So the lessons for K2, I won't go through all of them tonight. I have slides that show you what was sent to our parents, so all of you know, and I can go through that a little bit. But it starts off with what do we expect our students to be able to learn, because that's what all of our lessons start off with, right? What are the targets? What do we want students to know by the end of the lesson? What standards are applied to this lesson? Because we also always talk about how our learning comes from state and national level learning standards. What are we going to discuss? What are the slides and the pictures that students will see as part of the discussion? So you see here for lesson number 1, the overall theme is it's okay to be different. And you'll see a lot of support for what the students are learning coming through in artwork and in student projects later on in the superintendent's report. So lesson 1 has a couple of different slides here, and this is what our students see, and we even sent to the parents the optional activities that could be a part of the process too, along with links to any videos that our students are seeing, so parents can watch them too and have a discussion with their children about the videos. And you see one is a Sesame Street, and another is something equally as sweet, and also just helping students better understanding the learning targets that we have about this. And then we go through lesson 2, same thing. The parents received all the slides, including the activities that would be happening, questions we'd be asking. And also note that in the closing, for several of the lessons, we try to bring it back into how does this connect to this anti-hate speech policy? So even the little ones are figuring out how all of these pieces come together. Now they go through, they have the books here, etc. They have optional activities. Then you get into lesson number 4, and you can see we're talking about fairness, which is a topic near and dear to the hearts of those in K through 2. If you remember those years with your kiddos, that is something that they like to talk about. What is fair? And, you know, we're helping them understand that concept, and we build on that concept now and when they get older. So these are all the things that our kiddos will see and our parents saw. And now for grades 3 through 6, it looks a little different. It looks a little more grown up because it's really similar ideas, but with a next level of complexity. So the lessons in grades 3 through 6, first we talk about stereotypes and what they are, how it connects to the anti-hate speech policy. And then these lessons are really heavily rooted in books and in read-along or read-alouds that the teachers have within their classroom. The next set of lessons is about prejudice. So the first one's stereotype, the second on prejudice, and connection to the hate speech policy, and books that connect to that. And the books, as you notice, are also connected to videos of someone reading the book. Similarities and differences, connection to the anti-hate speech policy, and a book to support it. Same thing goes for helping students understand how these concepts have played out in history. Hate speech policy, and then different people throughout history who've made a difference by speaking up for people who are in unfair circumstances. So that went out to our families last week, and the lessons start on Wednesday. So we're excited about this, and we know that in the future it is already and will continue to be a part of how students learn language arts and social studies and even math and science, because we do talk about the world around us. And all of us as individuals and what we bring and what we need, that is a part of the world around us. So I can stop there for any questions people might have, and then I can move on to the superintendent's report.
Does anybody have any questions? Okay, Peyton, welcome from soccer practice in this lovely spring we're having. Spring sports have been really fun this year, haven't they? Welcome, we're glad you're here. Anna, did you have a question?
No, just to say, that was awesome.
All right, superintendent report.
And I want to tell you, Peyton, that Nate gave you credit for putting the notes together. He did a great job reading through the report, but he definitely gave you credit for preparation. So, all right, we have so many fun things in the superintendent's report tonight. This is so great. First is the summer semester program. So registration was last week. And if you were trying to register students, you are well aware that registration was last week, because it's always something to try to get your students to classes that they really, really want. So we have 105 unique classes, 1,275 students signed up, almost 4,700 total class signups, and there are still open classes available. So, and swimming doesn't even start until next month. The registration for swimming doesn't start. So that is, that's pretty cool stuff. And we know that we have a unique and robust summer school offering within our district. And it really gets a lot of people engaged. And it helps make school feel a little more year-round for a good portion of our students. We had professional development on April 18th. That's when our students stayed home and our teachers came to school. And you can see some activities here. I believe these are middle school and Brooklyn pictures. So students, Nate and Peyton, any students who are watching, you'll see that on professional development days, the teachers are the students. And you can see they're engaged in all kinds of interesting activities as part of enhancing their craft. April is also our Occupational Therapist Month, and this was one of our social media posts. We certainly thank and appreciate all of our occupational therapists. You can see we've got an outstanding crew here. A 4K family swim night. 4K has many family events throughout the course of the year. As a matter of fact, there is a requirement for more events than you can even really imagine. So this one happened to be family swim night, and you can see that there were some pretty happy kiddos in the pool as a part of their 4K evening family nights. And now our Brooklyn students have some fun artwork. This one's called Kirigami. They're celebrating these arts, they use art stars to celebrate what makes each person unique and special. And this is part of what they did after state testing was over. So I really like that as a fun way to celebrate the ending of state testing. And then look at this. 2nd and 4th graders across the district recently participated in the Symbolic Monarch Migration Program. This was through their world language class. The project began this fall with learning about monarch migration and the importance of monarchs to the environment. Students also discussed the connection that monarchs have with our neighbors in Mexico, which is a destination for monarch migration. Students created life-sized paper butterflies that were sent to Mexico for the winter. And then the butterflies from all over the U.S. and Mexico have been flying back to our schools. So with notes from the people that the monarchs were sent to. So it's a pretty cool world language project that includes people from around the world, connects students to other people in other places, and helps them understand the migration pattern of monarchs and the importance of that. We do have butterfly gardens that attract our monarchs when they come back too. Another cool project, this is a bulletin board, and this was done at Brooklyn Elementary, and it was a project that was put together by our high school students who were in the assistant childcare teacher class. So the students in that class, and you can see them pictured in the bottom corner, they designed the project, they led the project with Brooklyn students, and this was about integrating social emotional learning into the lesson plans that they were creating for this particular group, this 3rd grade group at Brooklyn. So it's a beautiful message, and it had a lot of thought behind it, and I hope we are looking at some future teachers there. And our amazing 5th and 6th grade regional math champions here. Our teams received 1st and 2nd place finishes and will advance to the Mega Math Meet in May. The meet allows 8 students in each grade to compete. So congratulations to our 5th and 6th grade students. They look pretty proud of themselves. That makes me happy. RCI also had some fun chemistry experiments in Mrs. Hausner's 5th grade class. They're learning about chemical reactions through this hands-on experiment. Baking soda in a balloon and attaching the balloon to a top of a water bottle filled with vinegar. This is actually what I do to clean my kitchen sink each weekend. So it's pretty cool that they're learning how to make this happen and the chemical reaction that's a part of it. RCI also had Canada Day. So this is a culmination of their social studies unit learning about Canada. And they also had, this is kind of a fun little bonus, the 6th grade orchestra performed special pieces as part of Canada Day, including O Canada. So an interdisciplinary activity happening here. The middle school last week on April 19th had a really awesome art show set up throughout their library. They also had student musicians playing music in the background as families moved through the art show. So another really fun thing happening at the middle school. And speaking of fun things, it was the exact same night where our student athletes, the seniors, had a signing ceremony. So we had all of the athletes you see on the stage there came up, and they were signing. I'm sure it wasn't their real letter of intent, but it was a symbolic letter of intent to the college where they plan to engage in the sport that they were involved in high school. So it was really cool because their coach came up and spoke about them and what college they would be going to. And then our athletic director, Ms. Spencer Grant, she read the thank you notes that the students wrote to their families and their coaches for helping get them there. So it was exciting and touching, and many, many photographs were taken by many families. As a matter of fact, we had to back it up to make sure the families could get in all the pictures, because a couple of times the slide wasn't right, and you can't miss this kind of special photo op for a family. And speaking of special, Jordanos Zielinski, congratulations to him. He set a new school record for the 1,600 meter run, 4 minutes and 14.65 seconds, and this breaks a 20-year-old school record and places Jordanos in the top 50 in the nation. I know, right? So we all love watching Jordanos run, and everybody's very proud of him. He also had a really cool recent news story on, I believe it was Channel 3000. Also last week, I'm telling you, it was a busy week. We had the Dane County Social Justice Youth Forum, and you can see in the picture here, Miss Sydney Ross. She's a high school math teacher and a Black Student Union advisor. And you see Mr. Piavanetti, our associate principal, in the back there. They accompanied our students to the Social Justice Youth Forum. I believe it was Dr. Rainey Briggs, superintendent of Baraboo, gave the keynote. Then there were breakout sessions, and it was really a wonderful learning experience, and the students came back the very next day and met with the adults on the school equity team to talk about what they learned that could contribute to our journey related to creating that environment that we've been speaking about all night. Our AVID students, they had a leadership conference last week too. And this was the one that was funded through a grant from Friends of Oregon School District. So all of our AVID students, and remember, we have them in every grade now. So we have, 100 AVID students, and AVID stands for Advancement Via Individual Determination. And they had Tom Krigelstein from Swift Kick, and he focused on his dance floor theory and how to build a culture of connection. So they were together all day long, and you can see remnants of it here in this innovation center. I came in and saw directions on how to build your own mascot on a whiteboard and wondered what in the world was happening, and then remembered it was from the Avid Leadership Conference. So our Avid program is thriving. And then, let's see if we can get it. Come on. There we go. You can see Peyton in this one. So congratulations, Peyton, for being a part of the Science Olympiad team. They were at the state tournament in Stevens Point this weekend, and they were medalists. So here we go. For cell biology, the team of Brendan Juvenal and Jillian Onek took 4th place. Under disease detectives, 2nd place went to Jillian Onek. In virology, 3rd place went to Jillian. The Wi-Fi lab, 5th place was Michaela Hammond and Peyton Schroeder. And anatomy and physiology, 5th place to Jillian Onek and Brendan Juvenal. So that was, look at all those medals weighing them down. That was an exciting Science Olympiad. You also see our OHS senior here, Connor. Connor's working for Summit Credit Union. And his story is unique because he started at Summit Credit Union in February. Most people start their placement in August or September, and he started a little later because that's what was best for his school schedule. And I think that's important to point that out, because these opportunities, as wonderful as they are, have to match up with all of the other things the students are doing. And so the fact that we have that level of flexibility in our programming is pretty cool. And in 2 months, Connor says he's found his place, and he's enjoyed learning about the financial industry and building relationships with his clients. And then we have another medal winner, Oregon High School junior Jonathan Krieger, for winning the technical drawing competition at this year's Wisconsin State Skills USA competition. You can see his name at the top as a gold medal winner in technical drafting. So that is really cool. There are categories such as, in this competition, architectural drafting, automotive service, technology, cabinet making, cosmetology, culinary arts, masonry, robotics, automation, welding, woodworking, and get this, dozens more. So there are an awful lot of opportunities for our students. OHS Art Fair, you can see all the people who are gathered down at the bottom picture. I encourage you to go down tonight to see the display put on regarding Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And then, 4th year in a row, Oregon School District is named one of the best in the nation for music education. So once again, we're very proud of that, and it really shows all that our music staff does to make sure our students have the very best opportunities related to music. And then also all that our students do, because our students are huge contributors to this program too. To qualify for this designation, we have to answer detailed questions about funding, graduation requirements, music class participation, instruction time, facilities, and general support for music programs. Responses were verified by school officials and reviewed by the Music Research Institute at the University of Kansas. So many congratulations to our music department. Clearly they keep coming out as one of the best in the nation, and that's pretty great stuff. So that concludes the superintendent's report for the evening.
Wow. It's nice when we have that as a long report, but you know, I think the message is, if you're looking for good in our schools, you can certainly find it in every school, in every department, and a lot of our kids. They're doing really great things, and our educators are spending a lot of time with our kids to find out what their passions are, and it's inside and outside the classroom. So I think it's really cool to see. I love that report. All right, moving on to G, closing, future agenda. Next meeting will be May 9th. Please plan on a closed session. At the end of that, we will be starting on the superintendent evaluation, so that night we will do that. If you have other things that you have questions about, if they're going to be on the agenda, please let me know. And then Leslie and I will build that. Moving on to checkout. We'll start with Leslie. Welcome to your first board meeting. We're happy to have you on the school board.
Thank you. This has been cool, fun. We can't wait to get involved and help out.
Great, thank you. All right, Anna, any checkout? Tim? Nothing for me. Heather?
Yep. Welcome, Leslie. They're not always this short, just gonna say that. I just had a, can I ask a question on the summer school thing?
Absolutely.
Okay, I just had a quick question on the summer school piece. But before I get into my question, I always like to start with the positive. And I was one of the parents registering last week. So yes, fully aware that it was summer school registration, but I also talked to a number of parents outside of the district with kids our age, and they're blown away with the amount of classes and different options for kids. And so I just think that's such a great thing to point out, that even though the registration process is not always stress-free, that it is really incredible the amount of offerings and the amount of teachers that come and do it during the summer, and I'm super grateful for that. So my question was just on the numbers. Do you have any sense of how it compared to last year? That was the thing I'd be interested in finding out.
I'm pretty sure it's up from last year.
Yeah.
So I feel very confident. Thank you for that reminder. I feel very confident we're up from last year. I know that Mr. Ashmore, Mr. Zerwick, and Ms. Hermes are all here, so I think they might be able to answer that question better than me. Do any of you have anything that you can compare this to last year with?
You know, the other thing,
Is that right? Thank you. Ms. Hermes says she's going to come up and she'll say it into the microphone. That's helpful.
Got it. So last year at this time, once registration closed, we had about 5,700, but that included swim lesson registration. This is the first year we've shifted that to a later date. So I'd say if I had to guess, with swim taken out of that, we're at or right around where we typically would be for our student signups. I couldn't pull how many total students we have out of the system. That data wasn't available.
and we typically have summer school as an agenda item to kind of give an update as we kick that off, and have, you know, all the administrators come and kind of give us a background, and we'll do that too to make sure, because I know that's a big interest to the board as well as the community too in terms of how that's working. But you're right, we have a really robust program, so it's really great to see that has kicked off.
Great, that's it. Thank you.
All
Nothing
right.
else.
I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that.
Is there a second? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned at 7:32. Thanks, everybody. Does that mean like it's like a green screen?